in any culture, I think, missteps, mistakes, failures is difficult to accept, no matter how much we are going to talk about it in different cultures. Failure is something that any human being has a problem in accepting. But as looking back, and hindsight is always 2020, it is where I learned everything in how I manage my company. Everything. The mistakes that I've done over the years has been where I have learned to change strategy, where I have learned to manage the company better, where I have learned to interview better, where I have learned to not to expand to a certain country in a certain way. They are essential. For instance, I mean, we also fell into the trap of the dot-com boom and started a B2B company, lost millions of dollars, lost a lot of reputation along the way. But gosh, I mean, the learning, yes, very expensive, but learning is also always expensive. So the learning was amazing. Acquiring a company in Europe where we didn't understand exactly how to manage in Europe was our way of understanding what acquisitions are all about. So we didn't like it. We're still struggling in making it a turnaround. But boy, was it the best experience for us to look at every single company and every single country when we are going to acquire. We needed to do it. If we didn't do it, it was eventually going to happen. So yes, missteps, and one cannot be too careful. They're going to happen no matter how much you study it, and no matter how much the bikini shows, you're always going to be interested to do a little bit more.
Buddy, you talked about the calculus of, do you acquire, do you partner, do you go at it alone? How do you think about that? What advice would you give on how you think about that construct?
Well, from day one, as a startup, you think you need to be in China coming out of Jordan. So, I mean, it was, nobody believed it could happen, especially my competitors. And that's why we're here, because they kept ignoring us until we have $600 million of revenue, and they continue to ignore us. And that's the best thing that can happen to you. The best thing that can happen to you is when your competitors don't see you. So, so what we, the way we did it is we secured the home base. So the home base in the Middle East, there was one single competitor. There was nobody else around. We quickly built our capabilities on the backs of our other competitors. So you find the niche, you perfect it, you secure it, you are the king of that market, and then you start thinking how you want to go into other areas. So we chose to do it by continuously focusing on the core markets that we are in, growing them slowly but surely into adjacent geographies, always adjacent geographies, and being part of a global alliance network.
I entirely agree with Fadi. Fadi said that making mistakes is great, and I think that an honest mistake is the best training that you can get. Sometimes it's a very expensive course, though. It's a very expensive training. But there's no other way. But you have to adapt. You have to be willing to adapt. Otherwise, you cannot just transport things from this side of the border to the other. Certain things, yes. Most things, no. You have to change.